the open seas, a vast and unpredictable world where danger lurks beyond the horizon. For decades, Somali pirates have terrorized international waters, preying on unsuspecting ships, seeking ransoms worth millions. But when they set their sights on U.S. Navy vessels, they made a deadly mistake. This is the incredible story of Somali pirates attacking U.S. Navy ships and the unstoppable force that met them head-on. To understand how we got here, we need to go back. Somalia, a country plagued by instability, civil war, and economic hardship. With no functional government for years, its coastal waters became a breeding ground for piracy. Small fishing boats turned into pirate skiffs, and desperate men turned into ruthless hijackers, targeting commercial ships and demanding ransom. What started as a means of protecting local waters soon spiraled into a full-blown crisis, affecting global trade routes and forcing navies from around the world to take action. But one thing remained clear: pirates had no fear until they faced the U.S. Navy. The world watched in shock as Somali pirates hijacked the Maersk, Alabama, an American cargo ship. But they didn't realize that their bold move would ignite an international response. The U.S. Navy's elite SEAL Team 6 was deployed, leading to one of the most famous hostage rescue operations in history. But this was just the beginning. Somali pirates, emboldened by their past successes, made an even riskier move trying to attack U.S. Navy ships directly. Armed with AK-47s and RPGs, they set their sights on what they thought were vulnerable targets, but they underestimated the firepower and strategy of the world's most powerful navy. When pirates attempted to target the USS Ashland in 2010, they made a fatal error. The moment their skiff approached, the Navy opened fire, instantly neutralizing the threat. The attack didn't end with ransom demands, it ended in flames and arrests. The pirates had no chance against advanced radar systems, heavily armed personnel, and the sheer force of naval warships. The U.S. Navy sent a clear message: attacking American vessels would only end in failure. More operations followed, with increased surveillance, drone strikes, and joint military efforts to eliminate piracy at its source. Over the years, Somali piracy declined drastically. The hunters had become the hunted. An attack on a commercial shipping vessel, sailing under a Liberian flag but linked to an Israel businessman, was likely conducted by Somali pirates, the Pentagon press secretary told reporters Monday. The crew of USS Mason, which responded to the distress call put out by MV Central Park, captured 5 people attempting to flee to Yemen after boarding the merchant tanker. Initial indications suggest the 5 people being held aboard Mason are Somali. Brigadier General Patrick Ryder told reporters. Somali pirates are nothing new to the Gulf of Aden. Retired Rear Admiral Terry McKnight told USNI News on Monday. The strip of water between the Horn of Africa and the Arabian Peninsula was plagued with Somali pirates in the 2000s, McKnight said. Somali pirates have been known to take advantage of situations like the high tensions in the Middle East. But what is unusual is the 2 missiles fired from Houthi-controlled areas of Yemen about an hour and 40 minutes after Mason's crew boarded Central Park to help take back the ship, said McKnight, the first commander of the Anti-Piracy Combined Task Force 151. That is very odd. I mean, as far I know, that is the first time that's happened, McKnight said. What's interesting about the whole thing is how the Houthis knew that the Mason picked them up, and they were going after this particular vessel. Central Park was allegedly threatened on its way into the Red Sea prior to the attack, said Sal Mercogliano, a maritime professor at Campbell University. Now it was attacked on its way out, he said. It's impossible to say that that's a coincidence that Central Park was targeted by Yemen to come, to divert into their port, and then Central Park was hit again in the Gulf of Aden by Somali pirates, Mercogliano said. That level of coincidence is a bit too much for the volume of traffic coming through. Mercogliano said there are open questions surrounding this incident, including how the alleged Somali pirates knew Central Park was linked to an Israeli businessman. Companies tend to use liability shielding, which makes it harder to find who the owner is, he said. While Somali pirates often attacked in the Gulf of Aden in the early 2000s and 2010s, piracy had died down in the area since 2017, Mercogliano said. It is unclear if the attack is the result of Somali pirates taking advantage of the situation in the Middle East. It raises a lot of questions in the fact that Central Park was the subject of not one, but potentially two attacks, Mercogliano said. This is a vessel that has Israeli ownership associated with it. So it raises the question for me whether the Somali pirate attack was instigated and funded by some outside source. During the unrest in Somalia, people fled to Yemen, McKnight said. That raises the question of if the 5 alleged Somalians lived in Yemen. Another question raised by McKnight and Mercogliano is what the U.S. will do with the 5 suspected pirates. The last time the U.S. prosecuted someone for piracy of a commercial ship was the Somali pirate who participated of the capture of Maersk, Alabama in 2009, Mercogliano said. Ryder also told reporters that there were 3 People's Liberation Army Navy ships near the incident with Mason and Central Park, but did not render assistance, which came as no surprise to Mercogliano or McKnight. China has long had an anti-piracy fleet in the Middle East waters as part of its protection of its own merchant ships. But unlike the U.S. and members of the Anti-Piracy Coalition Task Force 151, the Chinese ships do not engage with pirates unless they are attacking a Chinese ship, McKnight said. The only question about the Chinese presence is if they were told not to interfere, Mercogliano said, noting that the Chinese do sometimes work with other forces. The fall of Somali piracy wasn't an accident. It was a result of strategic military operations, international cooperation, and cutting-edge naval technology. Today, piracy in the region has been largely suppressed, but the threat still lingers. Smuggling, illegal fishing, and economic despair continue to fuel criminal activity along the Somali coast. The battle against piracy may never be completely over, but one thing is certain: when the U.S. Navy is involved, the world takes notice. What do you think about the U.S. Navy's response to Somali pirates? Was it justified? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss our latest content. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.